Good morning and welcome to the Better Thyself segment of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. Trust is the most important thing, and every human intercourse, every relationship, be it social, be it family, be it business, or be it a common day meeting, without trust, you are left floundering. While the trust most of the people think is possible when you see a man working, especially in the working conditions. I'm going to talk about that today because nowadays work from home has become a norm rather than an exception. So the question which people often ask me is how can you trust people you barely see in person? When you're seeing a person, you're seeing how he's working, sitting on the computer, and things like that. It may be a hoax, but still that feels them. I was talking to the director of Price Waterhouse, and he was telling me it's integrity. Integrity is something very essential, of course. And as I always say, being authentic, be honest is very important. But you, as a colleague, as a junior, as a boss, how do you know unproven integrity and trust the glue that binds virtual groups, assures work success? So, how to build the trust? There are times when default conventional notions of trust that rely on credible repeated interaction over time and shared context will be necessary for your work. As the saying goes, that you can trust a person with whom you have dealt. But how can you trust a person with whom your work is mostly by the computer, by the phone? In such conditions, it's necessary, imperative, and essential that you just give your trust unless proven otherwise. As we say, a person is innocent till he or she is proved guilty. Why not say a person is trustworthy till he or she has proven to be unworthy of trust? You might think, well, it's easy to say it, but by that time harm may have been done. So believe me that trust is something dynamic. It's not something static. You can use a trusting curve much like you use a compass. And the purpose of a compass is to ascertain your direction. Here is a trust process. So it can be high, it can be fast, it can be low or slow. And it would be where you want it to go. You can control it. And here are some tips that can help you build up trust in remote teams. And that building trust would result in success from anywhere. Now, don't be shocked. It's no magic. It's a common human behavior that generates trust, that's built up of trust, and that is, as I said, a glue which binds human relationship, working relationship, family relationship, social relationship. Now, how to do it? First, use just enough. An incomplete or an imperfect trust that is sufficient to get information or work done is crucial to figure out in the remote work. Just have sufficient trust that you are given the job. The person would be minimally capable enough and dependable enough to do it. And as I said, it's imperfect trust. Fine, it's incomplete trust. You don't trust a person implicitly, but okay, you can give it a try. So, in remote work, it's crucial to start with the premise that the person is to some extent trustworthy and dependable till proven otherwise. Then observe, learn, and determine what information you need is sufficient to show someone's actions are words that determine whether the person is dependable for the shared work you need to accomplish or not. So start with minimal trust, and then within 1 hour, 2 days, you would find, depending on the result of the work, whether the minimal trust can be enhanced or the person is not fit. The second thing is, our assumptions are most important. Assume the best. If necessary, you can quickly confer trust to a team member sufficient to fulfill a shared task. Check out the information you need to determine co-workers' competence or employees' co-work abilities. Look at his past record. Look at the peer group references. Look at the former references. How far or rather he has betrayed. And that would give you bounded interest, restricted interest, absolutely, as an accumulated factor. And this information, based on your assumption to begin with that the person is innocent till proved guilty, would enable you to do the work and get the work done. This assumption that the person is okay, you are not giving 100% trust, but okay, say 10%, 20% you are given for the first phase, the person is able to do it, and then, as I said, incremental increases can be there. The third thing is gain direct knowledge of the person to better understand the context in which he and the team members work. Now, when a team works, is a fodder, is a food, is raw material to enhance the relationship trust. You see, if a team is working and one person is not trustworthy, you can be sure that from one source or the other, information will flow back to you that such and such person is not dependable. So getting that direct knowledge would enable you to alter your level of trust. Of course, the information that you may be reaching may not be correct. That's something alter, not absolutely remove. Then study your own reflection. The person with you are working, human beings, they reflect you. You don't trust them, and it automatically the vibrations travel to them. You trust them even minimally, and the people can believe it. So what you have got to do is to develop a lens, a mental lens, a moral lens, an ethical lens, which is your own reflection. And I call it empathetic lens. And this lens lets you see how others experience you and your actions in powerful formation that can ultimately help you to cultivate meaningful, trusting relationship. You would hardly believe that I could depend on my driver and on my secretary eyes closed. Because those are the people with whom I was interacting, and the relationship started, but then later on when the things happen, you can trust them. Then, this is not all. Share yourself. Much more harder to establish without the benefit of time and mutual closeness. Emotional trust conveys a feeling of mutual care and concern between co-workers based on shared positive emotional bonds. My son drives me to the doctor, to the hospital, and it's a long drive and coming and going, but he's working with his teams all over the country and in USA. It's all remote work. And I can see the way he empathizes with the people who I'm not even seeing possibly. the emotional tone of his dog, the interest that he shows, the care and the concern show the positive vibes going. And that thing I can see is the what is propels him further towards the leadership goal. So you can get there by opening up to team members so that they know who you are. They know that they can depend on you. They know that you consider them as human beings, dependable beings, and they can trust you. And once they start trusting you, the game is won because then you can trust. Trust is something which always is mutual. So sharing, for example, autobiographical insights with your workers, say you're talking on the phone and you talk something of autobiography. These insights will help you get closer to your team members. And thus you will be able to cultivate emotional trust. You see, once you have emotional connection with an employee, as a human being, as a person who is interested in their welfare, in their lives, as a person who may not substantially do anything, but at least is a good listener and can empathize with them in their fear or in their problems, then the trust automatically grows. And lastly, create new pathways. Now, human beings are a strange maze. It's always an uncharted path. You have to create new pathways every day, everywhere. And in human relationship, you cannot have concretized roads. It's a jungle of emotions. It's a jungle of feelings, conflicting, confronting, and empathetic. So it's a curious mix of emotions. And in that you have got to see the way you are passing through the maze without destroying anything. So create new ways. And how can you do it? Be attentive to your client's need and your team members' needs. Create virtual experiences. These virtual experiences will promote emotional trust with them, cognitive interest with them. It will not only promote or evoke emotional feeling, it will make them think, look here, how careful this man is. And even when they are talking to a third person, they would say, well, all said and done, but the person is authentic and he has human concern, he has a feeling, he has a liking. And you need both cognitive and emotional trust. So digital tools can also uniquely create meaningful experience with them and will show you that when you care for them, they'll believe you to be reliable, and when they believe that you are reliable, then they will be reliable. So as I said, this mutual upgrading of incremental trust is a process, but it depends on you how do you do it. Most important thing people always forget is that they forget that discerning, discriminating the magnitude and intensity of trust you need in a given situation has to happen with a little face-to-face context. It's very little, and it can even be digital contact. You may, when you are looking at a person in the eye, even on the computer screen, you would see how he's looking at you, how he's fidgeting, how furtive his hands are. Can he stare at you, or can you stare at him? How his face twitches, how many times he touches his ears or his face to show reliability or not, but that's always there. But you have got to discern the magnitude and intensity of trust you need. The trusting curve in remote work is a tool you've got to develop slowly, but it permits you to determine very clearly what you need. And not only what you need, but how long will it take you to have absolute trust, eyes closed. As a matter of fact, in reality, it should never be 100% eyes closed. At the most, it should be 90%. They should always imagine that human beings are human beings, that there's always possibility of something happening or the other. But if you follow these guidelines, adopt these principles in your work, then you can definitely create trust. And that is something, an achievement. It will make you a better human being, a better colleague, a better social being. What more do you want? And you will be able to enhance the quality of your work. And that is the path to progress, to satisfaction, and to happiness. So go ahead, practice this methodology, and then have trust in yourself. And after that, trust in your colleagues, incrementally progressing till it reaches the apex. Thank you.